Got a big meeting with a lot of people, a lot of talent from Israel and from the U.S. And I think we came to a lot of conclusion and conclusions. And there's very little difference in what we're looking at and where we want to be, where we want to go. And so I just want to thank you for spending time. I know you're going to be over here for a couple of days, and maybe we'll be surprising us on New Year's Eve. That'll be fine.
Oh, thank you.
And it's wonderful seeing you and Sarah and your whole group. Very talented group. We've done very good work together, and it'll continue. So thank you very much, baby.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. I have to say that in addition to what I said, that we've never had a friend, even close, a friend, as President Trump in the White House. I think he's been extraordinary in his friendship and his support for Israel, his principled positions, his willingness to just cut through and get to the essence of things. And I don't say that as a compliment. I just mean it. People have heard me say that behind your back, Mr. President, many times. But I want to say something else. I think we have a partnership, if I can quote you, second to none. I think it's allowed us to do enormous things. You know, people said there was a different conception at one time, which means that America can advance its interest in the Middle East if it opens a lot of daylight between it and Israel. And President Trump has done the exact opposite. He's achieved remarkable things in the Middle East because we work together. We talk about our ideas. Sometimes we have different ideas, but we work it out. And most of the time we see eye to eye. But it's been a remarkable experience, and this was a very, very productive meeting. And may I say, a very good lunch. Thank you. Thank you for your friendship.
Thank you very much, baby.
And thank you for your support. It's meant from the heart.
Thank you. You know, as I said outside, he's been a wartime prime minister, and we were, well, I guess I could say I was a wartime president in more places than just Israel, if you think about it. But Israel was a big factor, and we're with you, and we'll continue to be with you. And a lot of good things are happening in the Middle East. We have peace in the Middle East, and we're going to try and keep it that way. I think we will be very successful in keeping it that way. And you've been a great friend, and I've been a great friend to you and to Israel, and it's been my honor. And the award that I was given was really surprising and very much appreciated.
Well, President Trump has broken so many conventions to the surprise of people, and then they figure out, oh, well, maybe, he was right after all. So we decided to break a convention too, or create a new one, and that is to award the Israel Prize, which in almost our 80 years, we've never awarded it to a non-Israeli. And we're going to award it this year to President Trump. This was announced formally over lunch by our Minister of Education, who's responsible for the Israel Prize. It's going to be awarded to President Donald J. Trump for his tremendous contributions to Israel and the Jewish people. I think it's such a fitting thing, and it would honor us, obviously, Mr. President, if you could visit Israel in that occasion on our Independence Day. But I have to say that this reflects the overwhelming sentiment of Israelis across the spectrum. They appreciate what you've done to help Israel and to help our common battle against the terrorists and those who would destroy our civilization. So, again, that's an expression of thanks and appreciation.
Thank you, baby, very much. That really is a great honor. Any questions, please? We'll go pretty quickly because pretty much we agree on most of the things, and you would know what most of those things are. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to know if you and the Prime Minister talked about having Israel pull back its troops before Hamas fully disarms. I know that's been an issue. Did you push for that today?
Well, we talked about Hamas and we talked about disarmament, and they're going to be given a very short period of time to disarm, and we'll see how that works out. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be in charge of that from our side. But if they don't disarm as they agreed to do, they agreed to it, and then they'll be held to pay for them. And we don't want that. We're not looking for that. But they have to disarm within a fairly short period of time.
Is Israel withdrawing its forces?
Well, that's a separate subject. We'll talk about that.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Mr. President, did you have a message for the Prime Minister about the West Bank? And are you at all concerned that Israeli settler violence, could be undermining the peace plan?
Well, we have had a discussion, big discussion for a long time on the West Bank. And I wouldn't say we agree on the West Bank 100%, but we will come to a conclusion on the West Bank.
If I could ask, what is the disagreement?
Well, I don't want to do that. It'll be announced at an appropriate time. But he will do the right thing. I know that. I know him very well. He will do the right thing. Yes.
There is a growing fear of a confrontation between Israel and Turkey. How are you going to ease this tension given the fact that President Erdogan calls Mr. Netanyahu Hitler and compares Israel to the Nazis?
Well, I know President Erdogan very well. And as you all know, he's a very good friend of mine. And I believe that, and I do respect him, and Bibi respects him. And they're not going to have a problem. They're not going to have a problem. I know him very well. And you've seen me do things with President Erdogan and Turkey that nobody else could have done. We're not going to have a problem. He's done a fantastic job. I'm with him all the way. I'm with Bibi all the way. Nothing's going to happen. Yes.
Are you concerned that Israel is not moving quickly enough to phase 2 of the peace plan?
Well, I'm not concerned about anything that Israel's doing. I'm concerned about what other people are doing or maybe aren't doing. But I'm not concerned. They've lived up to the plan. They're strong. They're solid. And sometimes they don't understand when somebody violates something that you want to give them a second chance. Well, we'll give them a couple of second chances. But no, Israel's lived up to the plan 100%. Don't forget, we made the plan possible by taking out Iran. And speaking of Iran, I hope they're not trying to build up again, because if they are, we're going to have no choice but very quickly to eradicate that buildup. So I hope Iran is not trying to build up, as I've been reading that they're building up weapons and other things. And if they are, they're not using the sites that we obliterated, but they're using possibly different sites. We know exactly where they're going, what they're doing. And I hope they're not doing it, because we don't want to waste the fuel on a B-2. It's a 37-hour trip both ways. I don't want to waste a lot of fuel. Okay?
President Trump, what are your last remarks regarding the pardon request of Prime Minister Netanyahu? Herzog office told us that you have not talked after the official request of Prime Minister Netanyahu pardon. Can you clarify to us? Did you talk
Which
about
request are you talking about?
with the President Herzog, the Israeli President Herzog? Did you talk with him directly?
President Erdogan?
Herzog, the Israeli
So
President.
you're talking about pardon?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you got to say that. No, I think he's going to be in great shape. He's a wartime prime minister at the highest level. He's achieved tremendous success. And I'll say it, if you had 8 out of 10 prime ministers in his position right now, or before right now, maybe, you wouldn't have Israel any longer. Israel would not exist. I'd say two of them would, and 8 of them wouldn't. Those are not good odds. You needed a very special man to really carry through and really help Israel through this horrible jam. These are major factions, and it started with our negotiation with Iran. I think it probably started with Soleimani. That was really where you mentioned that today, which started with Soleimani. Bad guy, doing bad things, hurting a lot of people, killing American soldiers and other soldiers. But it started right there, would probably be the starting point. And then from that point forward, but you have a wartime prime minister at the highest level. There could be other wartime prime ministers, but they'd lose. He won. And I think the people of Israel appreciate it. I think a lot of the people in the world appreciate it, actually. And because of that victory, we were able to get peace in the Middle East. If you had a different kind of a personality, if you had a weak person or a stupid person, and there are plenty of both of them, you would not have had success, and you might not have Israel. And you report for Israel. I know you're very proud of it, and you do a great job. You might not have a job because there might not be an Israel right now if you had a different prime minister. That's a big statement, but to me, it's a very simple statement to make. I'm looking at Pete Hegseth, and he's sort of nodding. If they don't have a strong prime minister, Pete, you might not have Israel today. I think he'll go down in the record books. And, you know, I was a big help. I'll be honest with you, big help. Somebody said in the room, if you don't have Trump, you needed a proper combination of everything. And if you didn't have that combination, which they had, you would not have an existing Israel right now. And the people of Israel know it. That's why they like me, and it's why they actually like him. He's got a little bit of a love-hate more than I do over there. But you know what? Even the haters have a lot of respect for him. There's a lot of jealousy about him. A lot of jealousy. Jealousy is a bad word. But I believe you would not have Israel right now. So it's a big deal. Yeah, please.
A recent poll showed that as many as half of Gazans would be willing to leave the Gaza Strip if afforded the opportunity to do so. Back in February, you said that all Gazans would leave.
I heard that number today. Half of Gaza would leave. I've always said it. I said if they were given the opportunity to live in a better climate, they would move. They're there because they sort of have to be. I think it would be a great opportunity. But let's see if that opportunity presents itself. But we're helping the people of Gaza a lot. So is Israel, by the way. So we'll see what happens. But I saw that it was a poll. It was actually more than half the people would leave if they were given the opportunity. And I've been saying that for a long time. To me, it was common sense. So it's interesting.
Why wouldn't countries accept them?
Look, let's not talk about it because we don't want the controversy. Right now, we're helping Gaza. But if they were given the opportunity, I think even higher than that, the group that did the poll is usually, I call them negative pollsters. You have a lot of them. And yet this poll was, I think, very accurate, other than it would be more than half the people if given the opportunity. But they haven't been given that opportunity. So we'll see what happens.
Mr. President, can you reach a point of understanding regarding Syria?
We do have an understanding regarding Syria. Now, with Syria, you know, your new president, I respect him. He's a very strong guy, and that's what you need in Syria. You can't put a choir boy. You can't put somebody that's a perfect person. Everything's nice, no problems in life. You have the opposite there. He's a strong guy. We get along with him great. I can't ask for any more. He's been with us all the way. We had that mishap with ISIS, and he was with us all the way. He was fighting us. You know, he was fighting them. So I hope Israel, I'm sure that Israel and him will get along. I will try and make it so that they do get along. I think they will. Bibi, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, well, our interest is to have a peaceful border with Syria. Our interest is to have, and we openly say it, we want to make sure that the border area right next to our border is safe. We don't have terrorists, we don't have attacks, and we also want to secure our Druze friends. And by the way, I think not only the Druze, but other minorities, especially the Christians, should be protected as well in Syria and throughout the Middle East and in Nigeria. In your efforts, we back completely, because Christian communities are beleaguered around the world, and especially in the Middle East, but in parts of Africa too. And we stand for the same thing.
And don't forget, it was President Erdogan that helped very much get rid of a very bad ruler of Syria. That was President Erdogan. And he never wanted the credit for it, but he really gets a lot of credit. Bibi agrees with that. I agree with, I mean, I know it. And President Erdogan should get a lot of good credit for what he did. He got rid of some very bad people. And, you know, they've been wanting to do that for 1,000 years with different names, but for 1,000 years in Syria. President Erdogan did it. And we give him a lot of credit. I give him a lot of credit. But I think it's going to work out well between Syria and Israel.
Mr. President, about Lebanon.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
The Lebanese government is not meeting the terms of the ceasefire agreement, has failed to disarm Hezbollah actually. In your view, should Israel strike the terrorist organization again?
Well, we're going to see about that. We'll see about it. The Lebanese government is at a little bit of a disadvantage, if you think of it, with Hezbollah. But Hezbollah has been behaving badly, so we'll see what happens.
How close are we to another operation of Israel in Iran? You said before the meeting with Netanyahu that you're in support of Israel if the ballistic missile project will take on and also the nuclear weapon. But after the meeting, after what you know from the intelligence, how close are we to another war with Iran?
Well, I don't want to say that, but Iran may be behaving badly. It hasn't been confirmed, but if it's confirmed, look, they know the consequences. Consequences will be very powerful, maybe more powerful than the last time. Yeah. And Iran should have made a deal the last time. I gave them the option. I said, you can make a deal. Do it. I told them, do it. And they didn't believe me. Now they believe me.
Evidence that Iran is behaving badly, and what do you mean by that?
This is just what we hear. But usually, where there's smoke, there's fire. Have you heard the expression?
What do you mean related to the nuclear
Well,
capability?
no, I'm hearing that they're not nuclear yet, but maybe nuclear too. The sites were obliterated, but they're looking at other sites. That's what I've heard. They're
Do you have
looking,
intelligence
so it'll
about it?
take a long time. They're not going to go back to where they were, but they have other places they can go. And if they're doing that, they're making a big mistake. Yeah, please. There's no reason for them to do it.
Mr. President, is the United States currently open to engaging in bilateral discussions with Tehran? We're hearing reports from numerous countries that there may be some discussions. Is that something you would support? Or
Yeah,
something that is
I would.
happening? You
Sure.
would support that?
I would, yes.
Right now. Thank you, sir.
I have been, by the way, before the war, I would support that. I said to him, baby, I said, let's negotiate. And they didn't believe what was going to happen would happen. Yes, ma'am.
China's been doing naval exercises basically to test encircling Taiwan. Can you explain to us what your knowledge is of that? What do you think about that? Have you had any discussions with China
Well, I have a
about
great
that?
relationship with President Xi, and he hasn't told me anything about it. I certainly have seen it, but he hasn't told me anything about it. And I don't believe he's going to be doing it.
Does it worry you?
No, nothing worries me.
But
Nothing.
You said where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So
Yeah.
if you're if you're doing naval exercises and air
Well,
exercises,
they've been doing naval exercises for 20 years in that area. Now people take it a little bit differently, but in fact, larger than they're doing right now. So we'll see. But they've been doing that for 20, 25 years. Yeah.
Mr. President, if you don't see Hamas disarm in that short amount of time that you're giving them, can you tell us what the next steps would
It'll be horrible for them. Horrible. It's going to be really, really bad for them. And I don't want that to happen. But they made an agreement that they were going to disarm. And you couldn't blame Israel. By the way, we have other countries that will come in and do it. They said, let us do it for you if they don't. Countries that were with them wanted the deal to be made, agreed that they would disarm. And now if they say they're going to disarm, that's fine. If they say they're not going to disarm, those same countries will go and wipe them out. They don't even need Israel. You know, we have many countries, 59 countries that are in agreement. This is a real peace in the Middle East. And Hamas is a small part of it, but it's still a part of it. But we have 59 countries that signed on, big countries, countries that are outside of the Middle East, as you know the Middle East. They want to go in and wipe out Hamas. They don't want Israel. They don't need Israel. They want to do it because it's the right thing to do, because they were for the deal based on the fact that Hamas pledged, they swore that they were going to disarm. Now, if they're not going to disarm, those same countries will wipe out Hamas. Yeah.
President Trump, do you think that the PA should be involved the day after in Gaza Strip, even in the near future? And the same question to Prime Minister Netanyahu. Do you see a real opportunity that the PA will be in Gaza?
Go ahead, Bibi.
I think President Trump put clearly the conditions of reform that he wants to see in the PA for them to be involved. And I think he put it very clearly what he wants to see, the kind of real reforms, not just perfunctory reforms, but real reforms. Stop pay to slay, change the curriculum in your textbooks, open up, a different society and a different future. If they do it, well, let them. I think it was clear. He put
Pretty clear.
guidelines that were, by the way, in the Trump plan of 2020, and they were put then in the 20 points, and it's up to them.
Remember this, if we didn't do what we did to Iran, just to make the subject just slightly different, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. You wouldn't have a deal signed in the Middle East. You wouldn't have a deal. Because other Arab nations, which are great people, I know them very well, I know them all, but they're great people, they wouldn't be able to have agreed to peace in the Middle East because you would have had a dark cloud hanging over everything. It wouldn't have been possible. So Iran has been greatly reduced in power, prestige. I don't want to use the word humiliation because, they're trying to build up again. But we can't let them build up because if they build up, there can't be peace in the Middle East. It was a mistake. When they wiped out Iraq and Iran were about the same power. And they fought each other with different names for 1,000 years. And then our country came out and blew up one of those two countries, namely Iraq. And all of a sudden, Iran had the whole Middle East all to itself. But that's not true anymore. That's not true anymore.
Tell us something about your plan to expand the Abraham Accords. If you can tell us something about your plan to expand the Abraham Accords.
Well, the Abraham Accords are a great achievement of Jared and everybody. It was one of the great achievements. They'll be expanded. Countries are already talking about expanding it, and they'll be expanded fairly quickly. Yeah, please.
Is it still on the table? The normalization.
Saudi Arabia is great. We have a great leader and a friend of mine and a friend of a lot of people. Also an enemy of some people, but those people aren't doing so well. Saudi Arabia has been very good as far as I'm concerned. They've done everything that we can ask for.
But normalization with Israel is on the
They're getting along great with Israel. They will. And at some point, they'll sign the Abraham Accords.
Mr. President, we know. So one of the big domestic tasks ahead of you is to pick a new chairman for the Fed.
Yeah.
You've said that you have one favorite, but you're also doing interviews.
Still do. Hasn't changed. Yeah, I'll announce them at the right time. There's plenty of time.
But
in the meantime, we're doing numbers that nobody's ever seen. We have $18 trillion coming in. We had a 4.3% GDP. They thought it was going to be 2%. And that's despite the Democrat shutdown. Had the shutdown not occurred, we would have had an extra 1.25. Think of that. We are doing, and also despite the fact that we have a fool at the Federal Reserve. I mean, Biden reappointed him, and it's too bad. You would have thought he wouldn't have done that. But he's an absolute fool who's building a new Federal Reserve, or he's doing a renovation of a building. Maybe he's up to $4.1 billion to do a renovation of a few very small buildings. It's the highest price in the history of construction. He's spending more money than any building has ever spent per square foot on the renovation of, as an example, I'm doing a magnificent, big, beautiful ballroom that the country has wanted, the White House has wanted for 150 years. It's a massive job, and it's a tiny fraction of that number. And we're under budget and ahead of schedule. Now it's bigger than I told you. After realizing we're going to do the inauguration in that building, it's got all bulletproof glass. It's got all drone, they call it drone-free roof. So drones won't touch it. It's a big, beautiful, safe building. But it's a big project for a tiny fraction of that. We're under budget and ahead of schedule. And they've wanted it for 150 years. Think of it, the Federal Reserve building, 2 buildings there, they don't know what they're doing. They're way over budget. I mean, almost, this was built during the Biden administration. And I rode by it the other day, and it's headed by the head of the Federal Reserve. Too late, Powell. too late because he's always too late with interest rates, except before the election. He was too early because that would have helped. That was supposed to help get her elected. It had no impact. We won all 7 swing states. But no. We're thinking about bringing a suit against Powell for incompetence. Because think of it, these aren't outstanding buildings. These are small buildings. He's at $4 billion more. It's going to end up costing more than $4 billion. $4 billion. It's the highest price of construction. Again, Democrats, highest price of construction per square foot in the history of the world. There's never been. Gorgeous monuments are built for a much smaller price. So we're thinking about bringing a gross incompetence, what's called gross incompetence lawsuit. It's gross incompetence against Powell. And it was his baby. And the guy's just incompetent. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. He's just a very incompetent man. But we're going to probably bring a lawsuit against him. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Bibi, congratulations.
When do you expect an announcement then on Powell's replacement?
January sometime.
And will you ask Jay Powell to resign?
Well, he should resign.
Entirely?
Be a favor to the nation. But he's come close. I mean, we're getting pretty close. I would fire him. I'd love to fire him, but we're so close, maybe maybe I still might.
Will you sell
F-35 to the Turkey?
Say it.
Are you going to approve a selling of F-35 to the Turkish?
We're thinking about it very seriously.
And what is
What
your,
prevented-
reaction to this?
They'll never use it on it.
Thank you, President.
Well, hello, everybody. I hope you're well. Happy Monday. This is the 29th of December. What a week to start off with. Much going on. Now, the reason why I wanted to show that is because you all know my take on, sorry, I'm bumping my camera here. You all know my take on Trump and his relationship with Israel. Now, on the surface, Trump looks like an incredible supporter of Israel and has even continued foreign aid to Israel. But I want to be clear about what I see. I see with this award that he just received, I see that more as capitulation of Israel to him, just like all the other countries have done things for President Trump, like Saudi Arabia's capitulation with the sword dance, which is reserved for kings, the way that they honor him every time he visits, the dining in the Forbidden City in China, which no outsider has ever done, the handing of the sumo wrestling championship trophy to the winner of that, which no foreigner has ever done. The walking in front of the queen, walking in front of the prince, and now the king in England. All of these are the capitulation, which we covered live as it was happening back in the day. I see this as another capitulation. Now, when people say, is Trump, Zionist? Is he, selling us out to Israel? I always point to the two main tools that Israel uses to, and the Zionists, the Khazarians, have used to control humanity. One is the media. That has been obvious. Okay. Look what has happened to the media under President Trump. Calls them fake news. Q exposed the media. Trump has exposed the media. The media doesn't have the strength it once did, which is why Netanyahu has to turn to these influencers and to social media. That's why X is full of, pro-Israel accounts that are actually getting paid $7,000 to post positive statements on Israel. it was released today that that Secretary Rubio met with Netanyahu in Florida as well at Mar-a-Lago, and that they're talking about combating anti-Semitism. And what's become very clear on X and in social media and on many trusted broadcasts, independent journalists, is that the push by Israel, the push by Netanyahu to make people like Israel isn't working, and it's actually backfiring. And as much as the mainstream media still sucks up to Netanyahu and to Israel, we're seeing a very different thing in the real information war. And so we definitely see that shifting. Also, and the more they try, the more we realize that they're trying to paint anybody who challenges the government of Israel as an anti-Semite, and that narrative has been just destroyed. So that's the media. The second one is the banking, the central banks. This is the Rothschilds. The Israel wouldn't exist if it were not for the Rothschilds. And look what President Trump has done to the central banking. First of all, taking much money out of the Federal Reserve through the no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, Social Security, and also the becoming External Revenue Service and the dissolving of the IRS, which we're seeing. His criticism of Jerome Powell, which he did right in front of Netanyahu, and talked about how they're going to investigate Jerome Powell. And I believe what they're going to find is communications between Powell and the deep state, and as to not raising the interest. And this needs to be investigated because it doesn't make sense that they haven't lowered the interest rates more than they have in this country. And as President Trump has mentioned, it's costing Americans and it's costing the United States a tremendous amount of money. So those are the two main things that the Zionists have used to control humanity that Trump is absolutely destroying. I also want to bring up, they're talking about Syria a lot. Okay. That's a hotbed. I want to get into that here in a moment. But I also wanted to say that the rebuilding of Gaza and the security in Gaza, security primarily, there are going to be representatives from Muslim nations. There are going to be Muslims that are responsible for a lot of that security. Do you think that is a choice that was made by Netanyahu or anybody in Israel? No, they don't like that. This is about the stabilization of the Middle East. And Israel is not going to be making those decisions. And any decisions that they are making and making themselves look very bad. The thing I wanted to say about the and also the peace plan is moving forward, and fewer Palestinians are dying. But what I wanted to say is Iran. I want to turn our focus for a moment to Iran. So Iran. Many people think that the destruction of their nuclear weapon system, that Trump did it because Bibi wanted him to. No, that is not the case. And I've been saying this all along. What happened with Iran is that, and I'm going to take you to President Trump's last Truth Social post. And with that, I want to also, by the way, he hasn't posted since yesterday. Okay. So this is President Trump today. He posted a day ago a repost of Chris Bjorn. One of Obama's most treasonous policies was to fund Iran's nuclear program. Okay. Biden and Obama gave Iran over $220 billion to research and build nukes. Iran nearly had 6 nuclear bombs in the ICBMs that would have destroyed Israel and 5 cities in the U.S. Democrats were going to take away our fossil fuels so millions would freeze and starve to death. Democrats wanted to replace you with uneducated Mexicans who would be easier to enslave, not just Mexicans, but El Salvadorans, Venezuelans, anybody, Africa, folks from Africa, Mexicans who would be easier to enslave. People who vote for Democrats are dumb and suicidal. New York City on a very hot day, obviously they're showing the explosion of New York City. Not looking good for average Americans, $38 trillion debt, and it's going up, trade deficit going up, interest rates going up, inflation up, layoffs up, insanity and crime up. Economy could collapse anytime. Read this novel and learn some survival strategies. Go to Amazon and search Knight Rider and the Warrior Queen. Now, that was posted on December 5th, 2025, okay? And President Trump reposted it yesterday. Now, obviously, this is all doom and gloom for this guy to sell his book, right? But there's a lot of facts in here about the nukes and the building of these of what Iran was doing. And what I want to remind you all of is the following, and that is that North Korea, their mountain collapsed. And Q even said, I can't believe that nobody thought to blame the Trump administration because it was during his first term. But that was to collapse not Kim Jong-un's nuclear program. That was to collapse the shadow government's nuclear program that that Obama led, Hillary Clinton led, with the Uranium One deal that ended up in both North Korea, Iran, and quite possibly even Syria. And I want to get to that. I want to get back to Iran and Syria in a moment. So what we're seeing here with this post on Obama is flat out treason, but it also shows us why Trump had to destroy Iran's nuclear program as well. Because as we know, the sum of all fears, they were rogue politicians and military that created these nuclear weapons or got hold of these nuclear weapons and detonated them, making America think it was Russia and Russia think it was America to start a third world war. This is what Trump avoided by collapsing the mountain in North Korea in his first term and collapsing this nuclear arsenal and this nuclear weapons site in Iran. Very little to do with Israel and everything to do with our own national security, not against the people of Iran, not against the people of North Korea, but those who control those places. Think CIA. Okay, CIA was in control of North Korea, and CIA has a huge influence in Iran, which is why they got rid of the Shah and brought in this extremist Muslim Khomeini. So this was good. So I want to take you to the timestamps of this particular drop by President Trump, and that will tell somewhat of a deeper story. Let me take you first to the timestamp 240, which sometimes we'll go to, but basically this is start the IP log on 4chan, confirmation, looks like Lang versus U.S. Jurisdiction. That might be just Lang versus U.S. Snow White Pounce, confirmation of actors, 1 to, what is that, 9,999,999 per condition, no nets regarding 8chan carry goods. So this is about the time when they were going from 4chan over to 8chan. So I didn't go deep on that, but we always drop the 0 on those. So instead of 240, we're going to 24. Any person making statements they will not be seeking re-election was put in submission. For the betterment of the country, not all will be prosecuted and all will do as told. You will see more of this occur, not normal yet disregarded, and even on the Democrat side. I just took you to this. I want to say it was I think it was Saturday night I took you to this drop. President Trump took us to this drop, I should say. So the fact that he's taken us to this again is really all the corruption is pointing towards Minnesota, California, and now it's expanding Ohio and Boston and Atlanta, Georgia. So these are all people that are getting caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Now, let me take you to the military timestamp, and that is 1440. 240 military timestamp, 1440, June 3rd, 2018. Boom, 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 boom. A week to remember, dark to light, blackout necessary. So he took us to this. Now, the dark to light has a big factor with what Obama was doing, because that was the dark deep state. And we are seeing the exposure of Obama more and more and more, especially with President Trump taking us to these drops and basically telling us this is a week to remember. Boom, 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 boom. Then we go to 144. Drop the 0, November 12th, 2017. Patriots don't sleep. 40,000 foot verse necessary to understand USA, Saudi Arabia, global events. So I've been talking about the purge in Saudi Arabia and how the same thing is going to happen in the US, which Q has told us that. And all these global events that are taking place is so important to paint the picture, paint the full picture. Many will not swallow what is no such agency. That's the NSA, obviously. Who has clearance to full picture? Important. SIS is good. Admiral Rogers. What agency is at war with clowns in America? That's the NSA. And the clowns in America are the ones responsible for the unrest in North Korea and the control in North Korea and the unrest in Iran. How does POTUS shift narrative? New age of enlightenment, 80% covert, 20% public. What has occurred over the last several months? See info leaks, operations, think Saudi Arabia. In other words, operations will use what he used in Saudi Arabia with Mohammed bin Salman was the Marines and the National Guard for the Saudi Arabian purge. CNN sale, again, you look at how he's absolutely dismantled the mainstream media. What companies receive large cash injections by clowns in America? Public. This is the media. Okay, so that's all being exposed. DNI, Tulsi came out and talked about how the Operation Project Mockingbird was still actively in place within the CIA, and a lot of it funded through the USAID. Why? Who does it hurt? Who controls the MSM? That's the clowns in America. Primary objective from beginning. Now, the reason why this is so important, my friends, the reason why Q is so important, the reason why looking deeper into Trump's communications is because he's bringing things to the surface, like the treason committed by Barack Obama, so that you and I look deeper. Look at his comment just a few weeks ago about the Somalians in Minnesota. What did he say? He called them garbage. All the liberals were like, "Oh, I can't believe he's calling people garbage, and I can't believe that we have a president that is so nasty about humans and degrading human beings." Really? And what did I say? What did I say on my post like a week and a half ago? You know, when people realize what these people have done, people are going to say Trump wasn't harsh enough in his, rants about these types of people. Okay. And so, so very, very important, and very important that we see what's actually going down here. Primary objective from the beginning: POTUS discredit MSM. Now, I take you to this meeting today with Netanyahu. Very friendly. Oh, Trump's the greatest friend that Israel has ever had. Really? Trump dismantled your media operation that was controlling the minds of humanity. And also what's being dismantled is the Christian support of Israel, because people are waking up and people are understanding that these 501c3 pastors are getting these free trips to Israel and being brainwashed and paid to push this pro-Israel, pro-Jewish narrative, which is not normal. Okay, listen, if you're Jewish and you respect your books and you respect your religion, that's your business, and I don't fault you for that. I fault some of the Talmud stuff, absolutely, right? That's some pretty devastating stuff. That's like the Quran in terms of its vitriol and its mission against non-believers of Israel, of Judaism and Islam. Some very, very harsh things. Now, there's some harsh things as well in the Old Testament, and some of the Christian movements and the wars that were fought, the Crusades and all. Much of that was in defense of Christianity, but a lot of it was in pushing Christianity, and look at how what Christianity did to the tribes and the native people of the Western Hemisphere, and even Africa and places like that. This push, this shoving down your throat, this Christianity. Look what the white man did with these beautiful Native American tribes. Putting the children into these Catholic and Christian schools and forcing this religion on them. That was all very real. And so there's a lot of things about the Christianity side of things that have been very detrimental to humanity. That's why I've said all along, religion cannot survive going forward, because the Christians think that the Muslims and Jews are going to hell. The Jews think that, everybody that's not a Jew is going to hell. Islam, the same. And studying the word, studying these books and taking them literally has literally been the largest reason for deaths on this earth. Period. End of story. All the wars, all the religious wars, much more factor than the border wars and disagreement wars and so forth. So at any rate, I kind of went off on a tangent here, but we're watching Netanyahu and Trump, and it looks like he's kind of kissing up to Netanyahu. And this is not for my core listeners that have been with me for many, many years that already know that's theater, okay? And that's part of the capitulation. This is for those who are concerned that Trump seems to be cozying up next to Israel. And all these big accounts, Ian Carroll, Candace Owens, Ryan Matta, and all these guys that are coming out, the guy, the artist Jess or whatever, understand that those people are awake, but they don't see the whole picture. And they're all agents against this administration. Without question. Without question, they are agents against this narrative of Trump and the Q team exposing all of this, exposing all the fraud, exposing all the corruption. They don't give him credit for that, and all they see is him cozying up to Israel. And unfortunately, they're not as smart as I am in this regard. And my studies of Q are responsible for that. And that's why Q is so important in this whole thing, to see, again, what Q said here, who has clearance to full picture, okay? Paint the picture, like see what happened in Saudi Arabia, see what's happening in the U.S., see what's happening in global events, and you can paint the picture, but you can't paint the picture. It's like all these people are painting with every color except red, and they don't have red. So how good's the painting going to be? The full picture? It's not going to be good. So it points to CIA. Who does it hurt? Who controls MSM? Primary objective is to discredit them. Why is this relevant? How is information transmitted? How are people informed? Why was Sarah A. Carter attacked? Hack attempt. Why was Operation Mockingbird repeated? Again, I just mentioned that. Why was Jason Bourne's CIA dream repeated? This is the mind control, the MK Ultra stuff for these false flags that are triggered through trigger words, also the assassination attempts and so forth. Think social media platforms and how they're controlling the mind now. Who are the wizards and warlocks? What council do they control? These are the white hats. This is an inside term. This is the control, the Q control that is taking back our world. Think Snowden. He's back in the news. And again, I was just here the other day with you. Alice in Wonderland. And Trump can post at any time, folks. Why does he post and take us back to these drops twice in the same 2-3 days? Alice in Wonderland understood Snow White, Iron Eagle, Godfather 3, Speed. Everything has meaning. Disney is a distraction, just like the bread and circus. Senate and Congress are puppets, not all. Power shift for God and country, for humanity. Geronimo. So Q is telling us about this power shift, okay? And told us this back in 2017, but President Trump just took us to it. He's talking about the Senate and Congress and their puppets. And what are we finding out about their corruption? And they're being exposed. Now, in kill brackets, this is what the message is. U.S. risk this week God and country. Okay. So that's all the kill brackets. So U.S. risk this week God and country. So they're telling us that, we're in very, very, trying times right now. And that's pretty significant when you consider all the things that are happening around us. It's amazing. The amount of information, the amount of corruption that's coming forward is incredible. I want to take you to this just 30-second bit when Bibi and he were outside, and they asked about the attack they went to the docks of Venezuela. So the missile attacks, drone attacks, now have hit Venezuelan shore.
Can you say anything more about the explosion in Venezuela that you mentioned in the radio interview? Did the military do that? Can you share more details about
Well, it doesn't matter, but there was a major explosion in the dock area where they load the boats up with drugs. They load the boats up with drugs. So we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
Is that the only strike that the U.S. has done?
I don't want to comment on
Mr. President. Can you say anything more about the
So they're going on, they hit the docks now where they're loading this so they don't have to track all the boats. So now they can stop multiple boats. By the way, I want to show you this, this from Spiritual Street Fighter: Silver and gold shall destroy the Fed. And this is, I can't remember what that says up there. I have it here. Silver Warrior, and that's from Spiritual Street Fighter, and of course President Trump's lapel. Now the actual cue drop that I want to take you to is the hold on, let's see, is this one here. And this is drop 2619, December 12th, 2018. So we just had a Delta recently. And one of the Anons asks Q, do we have the gold? Q responds, yes, gold shall destroy the Fed. Right? Gold shall destroy the Fed. Now we're seeing a major happening with the gold and silver market as we speak, right? This is something that I posted earlier today, and it was I want to get to the gold, but let me come back to the gold and silver, because I want to take you to what's happening in the Middle East right now. But before that, I want to take you back to Wesley Clark, General Wesley Clark. And let me see here. And I want to get to Iran, because that's all related. It's you'll understand the more we get there. Here's Wesley Clark talking about what's going to happen. Now, this was many years ago, and I've played this before.
They wanted us to destabilize the Middle East, turn it upside down, make it under our control. I went through the Pentagon 10 days after 9/11. I went downstairs, I was leaving the Pentagon, and an officer from the Joint Staff called me into his office, and he said, I want you to know, he said, sir, we're going to attack Iraq. And I said, why? He said, we don't know. He said, I said, well, did they tie Saddam to 9/11? He said, no. And then I came back to the Pentagon about 6 weeks later. I saw the same officer. I said, why haven't we attacked Iraq? We still going to attack Iraq? He said, oh, sir. He says, it's worse than that. He pulled up a piece of paper off his desk. He said, I just got this memo from the Secretary of Defense's office that says we're going to attack and destroy the governments in 7 countries in 5 years. We're going to start with Iraq, and then we're going to move to Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. I said, is that a classified memo? He said, yes, sir. I said, well, don't show it to me. This country was taken over by a group of people with a policy coup. This wasn't what the American people voted George Bush into office. Well, they didn't actually vote him into office. But it wasn't what many of the people who...
So this shows a premeditation for going into the Middle East by the deep state. This isn't the same narrative as Donald Trump, by the way. This was about the destabilization of these countries. President Trump is about stabilizing them, which he has done. So let me take you to Matt Gates.
Syria is in the news now because tragically we've lost Americans in uniform in Syria and a translator there as well. And reasonable people are asking, why are we still in Syria? What are we doing being
so we can lose troops? That's why.
That is so sick. And
I believe that's true.
You believe that those people are there so that they can die and trigger a war.
That is correct. And a deeper commitment and an emotional commitment. You've lost people here. I do think that.
Now, this is, Tucker reacting. Oftentimes Tucker will react in a way that's like, oh, I'm just this guy trying to figure it out. When in actuality, Tucker's got CIA ties. Tucker knows that, has been friends with the deep state for a very, very long time. And if he didn't get fired off Fox, which may have been a white hat move, but he would still be on the controlled opposition of Fox News. And so I take what he says with a grain of salt. But what he is aware of, too, he wasn't after 9/11 about false flags at all, but he is now, is that when we lose troops in a place like Syria, that gives us reason. It gives the American people reason to get behind a war, an entry into Syria. And so that is, quite possibly the main, could be the main reason, why they're there. Now, and also, by the way, Neil Berg posted this. Let me share this with you. It's been 1 year after Bashar Assad fled, and Syrians in Germany would rather invade Christmas markets with their flags and go home and rebuild Syria. Why are they still here? Well, all part of the migrant invasion that was planned for Europe. Okay. And so now, Christians just simply wanting to, celebrate Christmas have to deal with this shit, and which is a part of their culture. Christmas is a part of the German culture. So why would these people still be in Germany, and why would they be trying to take down the Christians just wanting to celebrate? All right. Now I want to bring up Muhammad Safa's post here, and it's going to kind of take us back to Israel as well. But congrats to Israel for violating Vienna Convention and state sovereignty for bombing 9 countries in 1 year. Palestine, obviously Gaza and the West Bank, Lebanon, Yemen, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Tunisia, Portugal, they shot a boat, and Qatar. Only Israel can bomb 9 countries and still be perceived as the victim. Now, this is why I believe that President Trump is kind of taking control, to the extent of people still need to awaken to the realization that the Zionists are a major, major problem in the Middle East. Meanwhile, your pastors will tell you that, it's biblical. We have to protect Israel, as if we're supposed to protect the government that has done outrageous things, horrible things. As instead of the people of Israel, the tribe of Israel, which is the biblical, and it's a people, not the government. And now, and people are clearly awake to the fact that Israel is caught, and the media is calling anybody that challenges the government of Israel you know, anti-Semite. It's like anybody that challenged BLM was racist. Anybody that's challenging the Somalis is racist. Anybody that's challenging the 20 million plus that were, you know, shipped into our countries and given CDL licenses, given Social Security, given SNAP benefits, given voting rights, given jobs with our postal service, with our transportation services. This is unbelievable, folks. This is but so they anybody that challenges those things is deemed racist, homophobe, or whatever, depending on the topic, right? So this is a narrative. This is the indoctrination. This is what I've been exposing for a very, very long time, is the indoctrination of our minds to believe things that we are not necessarily, that do not benefit humanity. Now, remember, and I mentioned this when it happened, they were talking about repealing the Smith-Mundt Act, which would have made it illegal for our media to propagandize American citizens. Mike Johnson went against that. And I told you at the time, it's because they are now using, the white hats are now using the media to discredit those that have been lying to us for as long as they have. So they need that as a tool against the deep state that has been using it as a tool against humanity. Now they're using it to awaken humanity. And that is very, very clear to me. Excuse me. So let me take you to what's going on in Iran right now. First of all, the Iranian currency has collapsed because of what's happening with gold and silver and what's happened with their fiat currency. Syria unveiled new currency today. I think we're getting closer to revaluation. This is all about, you know, gold shall destroy the Fed. And but what's happening in Iran is they're saying, you know, and this is Neil Berg again, and let me put this up here. The nightmare of Khomeini. Entire Iranian cities have shut down all markets and bazaars and are not only protesting the regime, but are also calling on the Shah to return. The deformed evil mullahs have lost control of the streets. So there's great civil unrest in Iran right now. And even it's even being pushed by, let me get to it here. We're going to get into Nigeria. We're going to get into Minnesota here tonight. But let me get us to, and we're going to go to Epstein here in a moment as well. But this is the Crown Prince Pahlavi Reza sends two messages to Iranians. Here it is. Greetings to my compatriots in the bazaar and to those who have taken the streets of Tehran into your own hands. As long as this regime is in power, Country's economic situation will only worsen. The time has come now more than ever to keep up your solidarity. I ask all sectors of society to come to join the compatriots who have taken to the streets and call for an end to this regime. And that's from the Shah. In particular, I have a message for the security and police forces. Take your destiny into your own hands. This regime is collapsing. Don't stand against the people. Join the people. So he's calling on the police and military. Victory is ours because our cause is just and because we are united. Okay. So, you know, that's coming straight from the Shah, which they want to return. So this is a serious thing in Iran, especially with the dollar or the Iranian currency collapsing as it is. This is let's see. Yeah, and this is just another picture of it here. This was just today. Okay, so I'm sorry, I had that up for you. Now, this also wouldn't be happening if it weren't for taking out their nuclear options and doing that very, very precise bombing that President Trump successfully carried out. Right now, let's shift gears here to Epstein. Okay. Now, first of all, I've shared with you that the Epstein release is not going to take down Donald Trump. Donald Trump just baited everyone in, all the Democrats, everyone, to beg for the files to be released. What it's going to do, it's going to expose a lot of the people that President Trump took us to in the Q drops today about the CIA, and also not only has President Trump dismantled the media and the central banking, but is also dismantling and has dismantled the honeypots that Mossad was controlling. Think Nexium. Think what do you call it? What's the other one? Diddy. Think even the CIA's Playboy Mansion and Hugh Hefner. And think Epstein and Maxwell. Okay. Those have all been dismantled. And by the way, when everyone's screaming for the Epstein files of things that happened many years ago, who is standing up and giving President Trump and this FBI, Kash Patel, Bondi, the Homeland Security, Holman, and Noam, all right, and the border, stopping the human trafficking from coming across the border, finding children that were missing under the Biden administration, shutting down child trafficking rings that are active now. Okay. If you see people that are all about the children, I'll give you an example. Ryan Matta did a great documentary on the Guatemalan children that went missing, to the tune of 160,000 people that were human trafficked into the United States of America. He is very anti-Trump. But who shut down that operation? President Trump shut down that operation. Okay. So that's why it doesn't make any sense that these people aren't giving him credit where credit is due. So let's look at the Epstein situation here. And someone made a Jeffrey Epstein connection. This is from Grizzy. Connection database with 500 plus different nodes. The website allows you to search for official documents that connect affiliates and co-conspirators. I see, John-Luc Brunel up here, Gloria Allred, who is the, who's the lawyer who has tried to take down some great conservatives by representing women. We see Ghislaine Maxwell. We see Prince Andrew. So we're seeing George Soros down here, Benjamin Netanyahu, Adolf Hitler, Bashar al-Assad, Saddam Hussein, Richard Nixon. So we're seeing some pretty significant connections there, right? Actually, it's not Richard Nixon. It's I don't know who that Nixon is, but because Richard Nixon was obviously a while ago. So Min mentions only show entities that are mentioned at least this many times across all documents, focus on major figures, filter out noise, include minor figures who may still be relevant. So it shows you how you can even search on this site. Okay. And it gives you a few sources. Now I'm going to repost this so that you have this link that you can access this link even on Snedheads. If you're not on X and you want to go to snedheads.com, you'll be able to see this in my X feed. Okay, so this is the actual network. This is how it's been, and it's Cynthia Nixon. That was that person that I just mentioned, right? Barry Diller, Bill Maher, Eleanor Roosevelt, Macron. Barry Diller, of course, is the former head of, what was it, Paramount. So you can see a lot of these connections here. Henry Kissinger, Elliot Spitzer. I believe this is Chris Tucker. So Warren Buffett, okay, Michael Milliken. So you can see a lot of these connections, right? Prince Andrew, right? And you can see the connection and all the different documentation that we have about these different people. Virginia Giuffre. So that's a site, and I'm also going to put this site in the chat here. Let me put it in there on, I got it there on, what do you call it? Let me pull up tonight's live on YouTube, and I'll put it in that chat as well. Oh, actually, yeah, I think it went in the Rumble chat, and let me just make sure that I did that. Yeah. Okay. So, some good resources there. Now, one thing I've also mentioned multiple times is that and you know this as well, is that Epstein is going to tie directly to Mossad. And for example, let me pull this up for you. I had it up and I let it go here, so I need to find it again. But Ehud Barak was the prime minister of Israel, and the prime minister of Israel was not only a frequent visitor to Epstein's in New York, but there's a picture of Ehud Barak in the bathroom. And this is from Sir Escanor, who has some great material, but unfortunately thinks that Trump is just an Israeli shill and doesn't believe in Q at all. So this was, he's drinking wine in underwear over a toilet on Epstein Island. Epstein was running a secret Israeli intelligence back channel to Russia on behalf of Ehud Barak, advising on how to remove Assad and reshape Syria. So obviously very, very interesting there. Kind of got caught with his pants down, if you will. And so, so this is why this Epstein release has to be so strategic. Okay. Now, looking to the war of Ukraine, Russia. Ukraine tried to kill Putin with drone strikes at his palace. So that's not going to be good. And Il Donaldo Trumpo posted this today. Let me pull that up. And it's pretty damn funny as always. Here we go. And then I'm going to get into the fraud here in a moment. Okay. And then I'm going to bring it back to silver as well. Silver and gold, silver and gold. Here we go. Well, let me just pull up Il Donaldo. That'll be the best way to do it. And I'm going to show you too. Now we know that this is President Trump's, account. His team does this. And so that is very important to understand. And this is what they posted today. Or was this, when was this posted? This was posted yesterday. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Well, he kept asking for a little money for cocaine, and I kept saying no. Drugs are bad for people, especially for small little midgets like him. This little guy does a little coke, and all of a sudden he thinks he's winning the war. So anyway, I told him he's not getting any more money for cocaine. He's not happy about it, but he's a midget. They're all unhappy, I guess. Because they're so small and helpless. Well, he kept asking.
Now, these are world leaders here. Okay. This is this is also, let me take you to today's with Bibi.
Look, we agree on some things and we disagree on other things. He says Tucker is retarded. I don't agree with that. I like Tucker. I say Ben Shapiro is retarded, and he agrees. He may not agree publicly that Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire retards are retarded, but privately, we both agree that Ben Shapiro is retarded. Thank you. Look.
Now, this is, you saw him, what, you thought he was kissing up to this guy? And now he's posting this as kind of a way to say, no, this isn't real. We don't, we know who these people are. And it's very, very apparent. And this will take us into, this was also Il Donaldo. Trump driving the beast. Now, the YMCA being played. Oh, shoot. I didn't have you with me. My apologies. Here we go. Sorry.
And I'm sure you will find many ways to have
Paging Governor Retard. Governor Retard. Paging Tampon Tim. Tampon Tim is a retard, everybody. Anyway, bye.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA.
And what's important to remember is the YMCA in Cuba was on the grounds of Guantanamo Bay. And so many believe that the YMCA fight song is about, Guantanamo. Meanwhile, this is, what's his name is, this is what Il Donaldo posted about Tim Walz on that page again. And this is all about that corruption.
I guess there is no way to put this delicately. So basically, we're fucked. They caught us. The FBI is looking at all of us right now. So please tell your brothers, your husbands. Well, you're from Somalia, so your brothers are probably your husbands, whatever. Just tell all your family members to shut it all down right friggin' now. If you have kids, put them in a truck and take them to the nearest quality learning center. I know it's supposed to say learning, but you're all so fucking stupid, you couldn't even get the sign right. Anyway, take them to the Learning Center and tell them to pretend like they're learning shit, okay? I guess.
So, interesting, right? Now, let us not forget. Well, let me take you to actually my my post today, and that was that Ilhan Omar, and let me take you. This is what I showed you Saturday night. This was Nick Shirley in Minnesota exposing all this, and I said 3 days, over 115 million views of Nick Shirley video on Minnesota corruption. Not one post from Governor Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar, or Attorney General Keith Ellison. Not one post. And these are people that post several times a day. And here we are, December 28th. He's more concerned about the weather and using the National Guard to support winter storm operations. Stay safe on the roads, Minnesota. Not one post since this was since that happened. And it's none of his posts are about that, right? Then if we go back to let's see, Ilhan Omar, this was a pin post, but December 26th, she hasn't posted since December 26th. She was doing like one a day, December 18, December 17, December 17, another one, December 17, another one. So multiple times per day. And yet there's no mention of this investigation. Also, Attorney General Keith Ellison of Minnesota. Last post was December 24th. And look how many posts he did, 2 or 3 on that day, December 23rd, 3 or 4, 22nd, the same. And yet no posts since then. And I just simply said, I wonder why. And it's because of the level of corruption that we are seeing there, and the sheer, what's coming out about this. Like they've already, the Republicans in Congress, by the way, in Minnesota, have already called for Governor Tim Walz's impeachment, which is, very, very important as a first step, certainly. And yeah. Yeah. So this is, things are happening. I want to take you to, well, let me get back to a couple things here. The Minnesota House Fraud and Oversight Committee has been working on this for quite a while. In case you missed it, we had a hearing last February to expose daycare fraud and gave DHS a list of providers that got over $1 million in taxpayer funds in 2024 that had multiple license violations we had concerns about, including Quality Learning Center that they misspelled. Number 35, Governor Tim Walz and his agencies knew. This is Shireen Gandhi, February 19th, 2025, Commissioner, Minnesota Department of Human Services. Dear Commissioner, congratulations on your appointment. One immediate concern is DHS licensed daycare facilities that have numerous documented safety and program violations that continue to receive child care assistance program funding. And so they've done investigative reporting of KSTP News and Jay Coles regarding daycare facilities. So this was back in February, my friends. Okay. Also, and it has the addresses. It has the New Horizon, Dakota, all these, how many people, how many kids they're supposed to have, how much money they're getting, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And so they had done all this. Right now on my feed, if you look at my feed, one of the things that I pointed out, and this was, actually, I don't think I reposted it. I think I mentioned to Ryan Matta, who was saying, Kash Patel, where are you in all this? What makes you think, what you're a hero and everything? Because, and what I posted underneath his comment was the following. Let's see. Where is it? It was since then. Here it is, up here. I don't know why it went down to that. Okay, so okay, here we go. FBI Director Kash Patel said on Sunday that the Bureau would continue to follow the money in Minnesota and protect children, adding that the investigation very much remains ongoing. He said the FBI is aware of recent social media reports in Minnesota about fraud allegations. However, even before the public conversation escalated online, the FBI had surged personnel and investigative resources to Minnesota to dismantle large-scale fraud schemes exploiting federal programs. Fraud that steals from taxpayers and robs vulnerable children will remain a top FBI priority in Minnesota and nationwide. To date, the FBI dismantled a $250 million fraud scheme that stole federal food aid meant for vulnerable children during COVID. The investigation exposed sham vendors, shell companies, and large-scale money laundering tied to the Feeding Our Future network, he added. He also noted that the case led to 78 indictments and 57 convictions. These criminals didn't just engage in historic fraud, but tried to subvert justice as well. Mohammed Noor and others were charged for attempting to bribe a juror with $120,000 in cash. Those responsible pleaded guilty and were sentenced, including a 10-year prison term and nearly $48 million in restitution in related cases. The FBI believes this is just the tip, excuse me, of a very large iceberg. We will continue to follow the money and protect children, and this investigation very much remains ongoing. Patel also said that many are also being referred to immigration officials for possible further denaturalization and deportation proceedings where eligible. All right. So the FBI was already looking into this and already, making arrests and so forth and dismantling some of this fraud. So it's important to know that they actually are doing something about it, and that they're even surging. They're making arrests for an ISIS terror suspect in Texas, the bomb making components, etc. So all is happening. Welcome, my friends. We've got a little over 1,000 over on X. We've got 500 almost over on Rumble. Another, let's see, a couple hundred, 236 over on YouTube. A handful in D Live. I don't know how many on Facebook, but welcome to the Monday night show. All things are pointing to Obama. All things are pointing to the corruption. And now what we're seeing is the corruption being exposed in Ohio, Maine. One of the things that this woman, let me share her story with you here.
America, Donald John Trump, my profound.
I'm sorry. This is something else. Hold on. Let me take that back. This well, it's not Minnesota, but let me play it for you anyway. This has to do with what Trump did in Nigeria.
Gratitude to the President of the United States of America, Donald John Trump, for sending help and rescue to the people of Nigeria. President Trump, God bless you. God bless the United States of America. We love you.
On behalf of Christians in Nigeria, I hail you. I salute you. God bless you, sir. God bless America. God bless Nigeria.
I want to thank Mr. President Donald Trump for sending help and rescue to Nigeria. God bless you, Mr. President. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you, President Donald Trump, for sending help to Nigeria. Thank you.
On behalf of the northern people, especially the Christians in Nigeria, we love you. God bless you, Donald Trump. God bless America. Thank you.
I'm using this great privilege to appreciate the President of America, Donald Trump, for his intervention over the issue of insurgency in our nation, Nigeria. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, America. Long live Donald Trump. Long live America. Long live Nigeria.
My name is Damilola Olajide Ogono. I want to use this opportunity to thank the President of the United States, Donald Trump, for sending us help here in Nigeria. Mr. President, thank you very much, and God bless you.
I'm here to appreciate the President of the United States of America, Donald John Trump, for his timely intervention and sending rescue to Nigeria on a day that Christians in Nigeria hold so dear to their hearts, a Christmas Day. We are saying thank you, and we need more of that timely intervention. Please, we need more of that rescue.
Thank you, Mr. President. We really appreciate you for your good work you have done for us in Nigeria, especially from northern Nigeria. We are grateful. Thank you, Mr. President. We love you.
And I want to thank Governor Mufa and President Trump for coming to Nigeria with us and keep it full of it
They were killing Christians in Nigeria. And President Trump made an announcement about it and and put a stop to it. And that's what these people are getting him to do. And speaking of foreign aid that is being misused, Eric Doherty, an incredible move. Secretary Marco Rubio just signed an agreement with the United Nations ending further American funding of the wasteful foreign aid industrial complex. Rubio says no more funding waste, anti-Americanism, or inefficiency. Now, this was also, I need to take you to my post because I actually reposted Marco's post. And by the way, I want to also mention that Elon Musk reposted this on Ilhan Omar. Her net worth in 2019, negative 45,000, 2025, 30 million, congressional salary, 174,000. How does that happen? Well, also what's very important to understand is that her husband has closed down his private businesses and taken his websites down of his private businesses, which we do know that this was all going down through him, through her, and this is going to be very, very interesting. Let me play this for you.
Absolutely. I called for the governor to resign several weeks ago. I just think his dereliction of duty is unconscionable. These whistleblowers have been sounding the alarm for years. We've had hearings for almost a year now, holding his agencies accountable. He's not fired anyone. He's not taken steps to stop the fraud on the front end, and he continues to make excuses. So I would absolutely want him to resign, as I said weeks ago, or I know others are looking at articles of impeachment, but he is responsible. He has turned a blind eye for 7 years, and we need to clean house in the executive branch.
And I know, Representative, you're running for governor as well to unseat him. Many of us are left with many questions about this. He was almost the vice president of the United States, and we see billions of dollars under his nose that were just wasted. What would that look like on the national level if he was the vice president of the United States?
Oh, it would be terrible. I'm so grateful that President Trump led the DOGE effort to clean up the federal government, and we need to continue to work to clean up the state government.
There you go. And also the this is how Morning Joe reported. This is how a New York Times journalist, CIA operative, posed this morning.
Sure. So these were funds that were meant to go to help feed hungry people during the COVID pandemic, to help keep people in their homes who were at risk of homelessness. So first of all, if there is fraud there, that should be fully investigated, no matter where it is, whether it's in a Democratic-led state, a Republican-led state. I mean, let's pull back. So absolutely, it should be investigated. The question is, why is this a priority in a different kind of way? The politicization of the DOJ and the FBI is undeniable. So whether they are reliable narrators is the big question. And this is what happens when you weaponize and politicize federal agencies that are not meant to be, politicized. And I think the American people are right to ask the question, well, can we trust you? And that's a sad thing to say as an American. Let's recall, too, that there's also other scandals in other states. For example, the Mississippi welfare scandal. I mean, this is not unique to politics. Americans know that. But of course, the other factor here is that because it looks like the Somali population in Minnesota, the Somali immigrant population may have been involved in some way, those people are being scapegoated, and that community is being scapegoated in a way that certainly serves the far right.
Wow. So that community is being scapegoated. Meanwhile, Pam Bondi responded to Nick Shirley's report on the fraud. Bondi said DOJ has been investigating this for months. So far, we have charged 98 individuals, 85 of Somali descent. 85 of those 98, and more than 60 have been found guilty in court. We have more prosecutions coming. Buckle up, lawmakers. Right. So this is that's from Brianna Morello, and but we have this narrative still being played out like these people are victims. Meanwhile, 0 Hour said Ilhan Omar's husband has closed all his private businesses, removing all websites. The walls are closing in on the fraudsters of Minnesota. And remember, they have not posted anything about this. And Tim Wall's new taxpayer-funded 20 paid weeks off for family bonding for Somalis that I showed you on Saturday, illegals, et cetera, includes a workaround that doesn't require the person to have a job in order to collect the funds. It's time to cut off all federal funds to Minnesota. We're sick of paying for this crap. Per a veteran Minnesota lawmaker, the way the law is written, there is a workaround where you can collect this benefit without actually having a job. The new welfare program goes into effect on January 1st, 2026. So this is very, very timely, all this happening at this moment. And again, taking you back to Rubio, he posted, the United States remains the most generous nation in the world for life-saving humanitarian assistance. Without question, by the way, without question. But under POTUS's leadership, taxpayer dollars will never fund waste, anti-Americanism, or inefficiency. Today, the State Department and United Nations signed an agreement that radically reforms the way the U.S. programs, funds, and oversees UN administered humanitarian work, ensuring that more lives will be saved for fewer U.S. taxpayer dollars. This new model will better share the burden of UN humanitarian work with other developed countries and will require the UN to cut bloat, remove duplication, and commit to powerful new impact, accountability, and oversight mechanisms. And I added, Rubio defunds UN foreign aid. Secretary Rubio, real Donald Trump, please move the UN one block east, which of course would put them smack dab in the center of the East River, which is where I would love them to go. Hey Sarge, good to see you. The X feed chat is dead. What do you? I haven't been looking at the chats. So, but the X feed chat is dead. Is that? Do you mean on Snedheads or? Here's the news feed on Snedheads, and here's the X feed here. But I think what you might be talking about is the X feed underneath the show. There's not much of a chat on X, which is why a lot of people go to Rumble or go to YouTube. But thank you for that. But I have not been paying attention to the chat because I had a lot to get in a short period of time. I think they will defund the entire UN. I believe that will happen. But right now, I think it's a controlled, I think this is the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. So Walls took down the child daycare licensing page. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Feed is rocking now. Thank you, Sarge. I appreciate that. Let's see. Meanwhile, Mississippi has welfare recipients collecting checks for over a decade. Also, they just happen to speak English and were born here. A lot of them, they all have babies, and American families can't even afford to have children. Why is Bondi not doing anything? Well, I'll give you an example. let me. I think I just bookmarked. Speaking of Sarge being in the house here, I think, did I bookmark that or share that? But basically, let me pull up Sarge's post. Okay, let me do this. Here we go. This is Sarge. Give him a follow over on X, my friends, Sergeant Petrie. This is something 99% of all of you on both sides of the table do not understand. RICO, RICO, RICO. Do we want justice? Yes. When do we want it? Now. I'm sorry. I meant to show you this. Here we go. This is Sarge's account. Sergeant JBP. So do we want justice? Yes. When do we want it? Now? But that's not how this story goes, and getting stuck about it will only piss you off. But she was a no-name support. Was. We have no idea who is who. Trump didn't get this far making mistakes or putting the wrong people in positions of power, period. God bless you all. Where we go on, we go all. Nothing can stop what is coming. MAGA, Q+Q, Semper Fidelis, Sergeant Petrie, and he reposted Patriot Storm 17. The conversation about Pam Bondi goes something like this. Fire Bondi, she's not doing her job. Me? Oh, really? How long has she been in her position? Them, long enough. Me? Isn't she investigating RICO, seditious conspiracy, treason, and more? Them, I'm not sure, but she needs to do her job. Me? RICO cases take 1 to 3 years to prosecute. Pam has only been there 1 year. One arrest can tip off thousands of people under investigation and compromise big cases. This is why they don't have conversations about ongoing investigations. Them, well, she still needs to make an arrest. This is how most conversations go about Bondi and others in Trump's cabinet. Some people act like they got security clearances and know what's going on better than Trump, and they have no idea. I can tell you now, most of these people would crack under pressure and compromise major cases if they were in Cash and Pam Bondi's position. So I'm going to repost that so you guys can also see Sarge's account. So thank you for that, Sarge. That was a great post today. And that's the answer, Penny, for your thoughts of why is Pam Bondi not doing anything? She's doing plenty. She's doing a lot. And the only thing that they're not doing is prosecuting the shooter of Charlie Kirk properly, and that's because they can't yet. So they have to lead us down this primrose path and make us believe that it's real when it's not even real. So regarding the oh, by the way, there's also a website called Somali Scan, and this tracks Somaliscan.com, and this tracks all the total fraud and organizations tracked. You can pull it up by maps. And look, Texas, California is going to be huge, my friends, huge. Texas is going to be huge. Pennsylvania. This is not just the tip of the iceberg of Minnesota. This is the tip of the iceberg for the entire country. And with Doge, with USAID, with all of that, all of Congress, all of the foreign aid that is being laundered back to these people, et cetera. Big Gouda, I love Snedeker's takes. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you, Big Gouda. It's been a minute. I need my Gouda. I need my Gouda. Petrie. My apologies for the mispronunciation. Petrie. Thank you for that. Let's see. There are so many arrests that are going to be coming in without question. So many arrests. Right. Now, let me talk to you about silver and gold. Okay. So what happened with silver today? And this weekend? Well, first of all, let me take you to silverprice.org. And by the way, if you guys want, let's say you want to buy gold. Let me see if I can do that read only. Yeah, okay. Let's say you want to buy gold, right? If you buy gold, you get it right now at what's the price right now here? The gold price is somewhere at 40, almost 4,600 right now. So most of you can't buy an ounce of gold for $4,600. So you might want to buy a 1/10 of an ounce or a 20th of an ounce of gold, but still to have gold. Now, if you try to do that and you try to buy a 1/10 of an ounce online, they market the price up higher than the per ounce price. So you're paying a premium for not being able to afford a full ounce of gold. So the company I've been with for 4 years, which is 7K Metals, they have a program. And if you want to buy gold, you can join at this website, fractionalgold.com/Patriot Silver. Hold on, that's not fully. Let me see. Let me see if I can get that R on there. There we go. Okay. And you basically you get $100 off. I think it's $299 now. It's $199. With my link, you can get $200 off, and then you can buy like a 1/10 of an ounce of gold or a 20th ounce of gold or even less. But you get it at the price if you bought a full ounce. That's unheard of in this industry. And you can store it at their site, which is highly secured, until you get enough that they can ship you, and then they ship you FedEx. And I've gotten much silver from them shipped FedEx to me. So the silver price was, let's just go to the change. It's up 20 points, 35% over 30 days, right? Today it dropped $4. It dropped even more before it went back up. So from everything I'm seeing is that the banks were affected because they shorted the silver, right? And when they shorted the silver, they were able to keep it down in the 30s, right? In the 20s and in the 30s. When it went through the roof, they had margin calls at like 75, somewhere in that ballpark. Not to get, again, I'm not the expert on this, but I've been tracking it to be able to share the kind of the overall picture of it so that you can dig a little bit deeper. But so it went up, and then they had their margin calls, which means they have to come up with a lot of money. And then they longed it because they were going to bring it back down. But the problem is when they went from 85 down to 75, then they then had to, I think it was maybe 81. They brought it down to 75. And because a couple things are happening in China, starting January 1st, they're not going to let companies export silver. And Shanghai is paying a premium for silver because they need it. They need it for, solar panels and batteries and electric, cars and so forth. So they're paying $90. And that's why when these banks longed the stock thinking they were going to bring it back down, then it went back up. No, with Shanghai spending that kind of money. So now we're having a crisis of actual supply. We don't have enough silver supply for all the uses that are being used. And so I believe this price is and a lot of people believe this price is going to continue to go up at very to very high numbers, maybe even double, triple, quadruple, because it's still not on par with gold's rise. It's still quite below what the historic ratio has been between gold and silver. But I recommend you do your homework. The Asian guy on X has got some great content, even though it's like an AI guy, but he's got some great content. So, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up. But if you would like to do that, you can. Moonbeam, if you would drop that in the chat, I'd appreciate it. And also, if you want to support my work here, you may do so in the following manner. Donate on Zelle, DaveSned at Gmail, or GiveSendGo /TheHeadSned. Also, you can get donations to me on Snedhead's donation nation link. And if you haven't gotten over to Snedhead's, please do so. And then I'm also dropping in the chat the direct link to where you can donate to keep the lights on here and take us to another level, which I am looking forward to reaching with you, and want to get you in front of the important information that is so very necessary in this information war that we're experiencing, because it's just, we have just been indoctrinated so deeply. We're breaking free from this indoctrination, and yet we have many people that are continuing to bash Trump, say we're going down a very dark road, there are black pillars, and it is, So this is, and I've also, excuse me, I'm reposting a few things on silver on my timeline. Especially this report here, when I mentioned which banks will fail today due to silver price, which are being bailed out. So A-Invest Silver Trade confirmed JP Morgan closed its short positions in 2025, flipping U.S. banks net long on COMEX silver futures. A small net long of 773 contracts. They reportedly hold 750 million ounces physically. Conflicting sources like YouTube video claim 4.875 billion losses, but couldn't verify the cited SEC filing. Other potential banks with large shorts: HSBC, UBS, Bank of Nova Scotia, and so this is a really thorough post with also some other people that are chiming in on this. The CMA declaring war on precious metals. The Shanaka and Slum silver crashed 5%. You panic. Meanwhile, Shanghai kept buying at $82 while your screen showed 72. Same metal, same hour, $10 gap. That gap did not close during the crash. It widened. You're not watching a market sell-off. You're watching a paper market get divorced from physical reality in real time. CME raised margins twice in 17 days, right into holiday liquidity when nobody can wire funds. Leveraged longs got slaughtered by design. This is not price discovery. This is a position liquidation masquerading as a crash. The Chinese are not stupid. They see 72 on the screen and bid 82 anyway because they know something you do not. Paper settles in cash. Factories settle in metal. One price is negotiable. One price is survival. Friday morning, export controls go live. 72 hours from now, the arbitrage window slams shut. You think you just saw a top. You just saw the last shakeout before the Western price is forced to catch up to the Eastern one. the screen lied to you today. Shanghai told the truth. And basically what we're seeing are steps. And as we go up, it may go back down, but then it goes back up and goes up a little bit higher. And so keep your eyes on that. Please do your own homework on that. I am not. Thank you, Sarge. I appreciate you, brother, donating 117. I really appreciate that. And people, feel free if you can to, if you want to do 10, 20, $30 and match that, please do so. Kev has done that many times, and it's really helped me get to kind of spark investment in this, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to invest in real information, proper information, thorough information, not controlled information by Israel, by a 501c3 Christian push for Judeo-Christianity, for we must protect Israel. Not showing you everything else is we're awakening to everything else, but for some reason Trump's still the bad guy in all this, and all these people that are out there, they're being influenced by money, folks. That's the only reason why they're doing it. They're not stupid. They're making active decisions and active broadcasts to deceive you, because the CIA no longer has a hold on you using the mainstream media. Okay? They no longer have a hold on you because you know it's bullshit and you're not going to listen to it. So they're getting you in different ways. So I want to remind you that this is completely independent. And also, if you're tired of Facebook spying on you, Instagram spying on you, X spying on you, and knowing your very location, TikTok, tracking you, listening to you through your phone, if you're tired of that, join us over on snedheads.com. You're gonna love it there. I'm telling you, it's beautiful, and it doesn't have a bunch of negative bullshit that you got to put up with. The show is over there, so you can watch the show on Snedheads. You can see some really awesome posts on Snedheads. So please join us over there. And I'll give you an example. And we don't get a lot of this, but I'm glad you posted this. Gina Marie Schwartz posted something on Facebook about Netanyahu and Trump. She said, "What in the world is happening? Is Trump a Zionist and been bought off? Is Mossad Q?" And I said, this is capitulation by Israel. Trump has destroyed the two main control mechanisms of the Zionists: one, media; two, central banking. She said, "Thanks, Dave, for the concise explanation. Too many other narratives out there trying to deceive and get people to not trust POTUS." That's exactly what it's for. Thank you, Gina. And you got some great good morning, Michelle My Bell, some music, talking to the Moo, Anna Clark posting, the Somali fraud, Sergeant Petrie, another donation. Thank you. The shows, Heather Willard, the Moon Rock with Trump. So you got some great stuff over there, folks. So please join us there. And the other thing too is you're throttled, you're shadow banned with the content you want to share. You're literally will be seen by more people on Snedheads. You'll be a instead of a small fish in a vast ocean of surveillance, you'll be a big fish in a small pond, a small town, a hometown that people actually put their faces on their profile. They put their real names. Gone are the days of, and I don't let people post unless they support the platform, because people could come in, just assholes like we see on the internet everywhere, and just start ripping people apart. These anonymous accounts, these bots, but with a $17 entry into, you can see all the information for free. But if you want to post and really engage, it's $17 a month or $170 for the year, which is 2 months free. but then you can post, and we keep out the bots, we keep out the assholes, and we're looking for real content, beautiful content, exciting content. And so you will be seen, you will be heard on Snedheads. Go on there, just start friending as many people as you can, because that will fill up your news feed, because you're only going to see the people you follow. So just start befriending everybody, because everybody, all 700 people on there, are of like mind, meaning that they actually use their minds. So thank you for joining us tonight, my friends. Much love to you all. Please, I am most likely going to be on tomorrow night, definitely Wednesday. Keep an eye out, but mostly we'll be on tomorrow night as well. So much love to you. Thanks for joining me tonight, and God bless you.